Yo, what's going on YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to another PSO2 video. So today's video, we're actually going to be going over my thoughts about more or less the launch of New Genesis and how the game is moving on after about a little over a week of playing and, of course, having a good time. Before we jump into that, guys, my name is Chrono. I do content over here on YouTube daily. If you're new, I'd much appreciate it. Subscribe as we claw our way towards that 10K mark by the end of the year. We actually crushed 5K. We're actually climbing pretty quick to 6K, so it's super awesome. All of you guys that are new here, I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you enjoy your stay. But let's go ahead and jump into the actual video today. So today's going to be kind of more of a freeform thing. I just wanted to go through my overall thoughts about how I felt about NGS so far, its struggles, things it's done really great, things I've had a lot of fun with. Now, a lot of my other colleagues have done videos very similar, and I mean, people have had some varying degrees of criticisms based on what they've had to say about the game, but I'm going to be very honest with you guys, and I'll be very straightforward, guys. First off, PSO2 was what my entire channel is based around. It's what it's built up for the very long time. I've played Phantasy Star for a very long time, even before even coming to Twitch or YouTube, back with PSU and things of that sort. So yes, the opinion is going to be biased. I absolutely love this game series. It's super fun, but it's not perfect, and I'm going to let you guys know what I haven't enjoyed and, more or less what I've had problems with. Not really trying to sugarcoat anything along those lines, so if that is a problem for you guys, I suggest probably clicking off the video now, but I appreciate you clicking on the video to begin with in the first place. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So, launch. To be perfectly honest, launch, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Servers came up, granted they were delayed. We had a pretty fun time with hanging out with you guys in stream for the whole delay itself, but as delayed as they weren't as delayed as episode 6's launch in base PSO2, which, if you guys remember that, we sat around for close to 10 to 12 hours waiting for those servers to pop back up. But luckily, I had the stream chat to basically help me pass my time. While we waited for servers to come up, we could hang out, we could chat, have a good time. So it is a bit of a biased situation again. It didn't bother me nearly as much. However, it did suck that we had to wait a little while. But I mean, servers did come up, and as far as the launch goes overall, servers weren't smooth. There was some pretty heavy lag issues. I know there were some issues with people getting into the game at the very start, and of course, bugs. Bugs are going to pop up when you have a large number of people trying games out, especially for the number of people I knew personally who completely ignored betas, who completely ignored, playing base PSO2 because they wanted a fresh experience. In that situation, we had a lot of people jumping into the game that really had never touched it beforehand. Because of that, servers load was absolutely insane. Some people couldn't even get logged into the game. So lag was pretty prevalent. Now when it would happen, it would be like a solid 15 to 30 seconds of lag where nothing would happen. And let me tell you, I'll be honest with you, when it happened, it sucked. It wasn't fun. It made things very difficult to learn around. However, getting past that lag itself, the actual gameplay was super awesome. I had a really fun time playing all the classes. I haven't leveled everything. As of right now, I'm currently leveling Tector and still working on Ranger as well. And then I think I have Force left over. So I still have those 3 classes to level, and I'm still working on those, but after playing a bunch of other stuff, I've had an amazing time. Now, it's worth noting at the time of recording this video, that lag has more or less been fixed. If we do experience lag, it's for more or less half of a second, if even then, and it happens so not often, I guess, is the word. I'm sure someone's gonna tell me the word in the comments, but it happens so rarely, that's the word I was looking for. It really doesn't affect my gameplay whatsoever. So with most recent updates, the most recent maintenance, they've done a fairly awesome job. Now, as far as bugs, bug fixes and things of that sort, the cool thing is they've been fairly straightforward about bugs and letting people know about them, at least as they know them. I know some people are asking, how do you provide feedback? Hop over to the forums, let people know about what's going on. They do pay attention to those, but remember, there is someone behind the computer on the other end. So if you want someone to hear you, usually screaming at them isn't the way to get it done. Just pretend like you're at a store and you're trying to get someone to listen to you, or you're trying to teach one of your friends. Yelling at them usually doesn't help out in that situation, so just keep that in mind when you're providing that sort of feedback. Regardless, either way, whatever you happen to come up with, make sure to let them know about those in the forums itself. But as far as letting us know about these issues, these bugs, things like that, they've been pretty straightforward about it. Unfortunately, my boy Julian Dance, the damage he does at the very start of the PA, it's a double saber PA for those of you guys who don't know, and if you guys aren't aware of it or haven't watched a previous video, it is currently quote-unquote bugged that it does too much damage. I just think that they didn't realize and made it do too much damage, and they're nerfing it. But unfortunately, it's being reported as a bug fix, so we are going to lose out on Julian Dance, but that's okay. We can move past that. As far as other bugs, some of them have been pretty terrible. I know issues with mining and things of that sort, mining nodes. People have been very, very vocal about why they don't think, or why they're very confused as to why not certain things are happening. Something I was very straightforward about is, hey, look, there's a good chance this is the intention and it's bugged. And turns out that's exactly what's happened. I've been able to confirm, at least through my own experiences, that mining node resets are on daily, which is what we thought should be the case in the first place. Now, granted, we may not agree with everything they've done, but at least that does make sense logistically. Mining nodes also seem to reset, and they're not always in the exact same spot. Sometimes it doesn't seem like we always have the exact same amount of nodes, so it can be a little bit RNG how much you get. So your mileage may vary. I would keep an eye on that as you're moving forward. But as far as the other bugs, they've fixed quite a bit. More or less, the experience after maintenance has been really, really good. Of course, there are some other situations that have popped up, some a little annoying bugs like character models not looking exactly correct on other people's ends. I mean, like, for example, my character looks perfectly fine when I look at him, but I've had friends that have shown pictures of my character where he is completely pale, missing my weapon camos and things of that sort. There's also a bug with weapon camos where multi-weapon camos, if you equip them to more than one slot, are not working. So that is something they're talking about and they're fixing as well. So as far as launches go, comparatively to a lot of MMO launches that I've been a part of, the biggest thing is you can play the game. And that's always been the biggest problem for me with MMO launches, is most of the time when there are big issues, you literally just can't even play. Now, for some people, that lag made it unplayable. And for them, I would say, hey, look, you know what? Take a step back, come back to a little bit later. It's very early on, and we have quite a bit of time to just kind of hang out while we're waiting for big pieces of content to come along. PSO has always been a game that doesn't always have content for everyone, and I always recommend come to the game when there's something that you want to do, and when there isn't, play something else for a while. It's been the same thing for me with another game that I play, Final Fantasy 14, where realistically there isn't content for everyone all the time. However, there is a ton of content, so if you want to do everything, there's a lot to do. But that game, of course, is subscription based, and the creators always mention that, hey, if something isn't here for you, unsub and then sub, there's something to come back and play. I think the same thing, honestly, with Phantasy Star. If there's nothing for you to do, take a step away. Come back later when there is something you want to do. We'll always be here. Tons of us content creators will be here. I know I will be. But as far as overall my thoughts on the game itself moving towards Endgame, it is a bit grindy. There are some systems I don't agree with, as far as things like blocking the ability to sell items on the market being behind a paywall. So basically, if you're unaware, you have to either purchase a shop ticket or you have to have premium to be able to put items up on the market. You can still purchase items off of the market, which is not an issue, but I believe this isn't really the best way of handling the situation. I think premium has enough benefits on its own to warrant purchasing it. I don't think this is really something that needs to happen as well. Now, there are a lot of people that have said, I don't understand why they would ever do this. This is so dumb, so on and so forth. I mean, to be honest, this is obviously a situation they're trying to combat the bots, as well as make some more money for the game. Because at the end of the day, it's still a business. They still have to make money to be able to afford servers, to be able to actually bring us content, to pay people to make this sort of stuff. So yes, making money is a part of this process. The same way that you're probably going to see an ad at one point in these videos, I have to make money to be able to make these videos itself to warrant the time. That's always going to be part of the process itself. We just have to see, what's acceptable versus what's not. And to be honest, I feel like this isn't just hurting free-to-play players. It's actually hurting pay-to-play players as well, because we want you guys to put this stuff up on the market for us to purchase. That means there's less supply. And while there's less supply, there's still the same demand, which can be a bit of a pain. So I've offered my feedback for it. I think it's definitely not the way they want to go in this situation itself. And I think there are better ways to combat this process. So it's a part of one of those situations where I was like, hey, look, this may not be what I agree with, but I see where you're coming from. So I just don't think it's right. As far as other things to go along with this, I feel like everything else has been pretty straightforward. To be honest, it's kind of crazy to see some of the things that people have requested as compensation and things like that, not realizing that's exactly what they've already done. I mean, people always complain that, we should get star gems for certain situations, or they should extend premium time, as well as they should extend other times and things like that. They've already done that for every emergency maintenance, as well as even the regular maintenance. They extended premium times, and any timed things that were available, they took care of for us. Now, there is one thing I do disagree with, which is the use of our boosters. Boosters don't pause while you're in towns, nor do they pause while you're logged out. So I don't agree with that per se. I think that's something that should definitely change. Boosters shouldn't be used while you're not logged into the game. So it does make boosters a bit more of a hot commodity. and it's definitely a change from base PSO2. So I would say be more careful about those, but honestly, there are more boosters available just base game without having to pay anything for them than there were in base PSO2. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But outside of all those sorts of things, let's talk about more so like the story of the game and kind of how that whole process works out. So kind of a difference from base PSO2, where normally the story was completely separated. You didn't have to do any of it at all. You actually do need to do the story, and it does unlock things towards the game. It's actually completely put together into the game itself, and I think that's kind of cool. It is different. I'm not used to it, so like when I was first starting out, I was thinking, oh well, I can go grind, maybe don't worry too much about the story and come back to it later, when in reality the story unlocked things, so you wanted to keep going and keep actually working through it. I don't know how I feel about that specific change just yet. I think I need more story to figure that out, so we'll have to see. As far as the end game goes in PSO2 at the moment, it's mostly just grinding. What, to be honest, I'm just used to that for most MMOs. Usually when you finish the leveling process of a brand new MMO, you're kind of just waiting for the newer content to come around. Usually you're just leveling other things, maybe grinding for like that min-max gear for right now to maybe create your own content, whether that be, you know, speedrunning cocoons, or whether that be speedrunning the leveling process, or maybe working on a character, you know, on a different ship with some friends. Those sorts of things are just ways of you creating other content, or maybe just taking a break. You have your character set up and you're just waiting for the next big thing to come around. I think the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about is the change when it comes to dailies and weeklies. That is something I personally don't agree with. Now, while I understand base PSO2 had this big issue with you know alt characters, where if you made an alt, you basically made more money. It was always recommended to have at least 3 characters total. Even if you didn't play the other 2 characters, having them high enough to be able to do dailies and weeklies was still very, very beneficial from both the leveling as well as a money-making perspective, since it was character based. Now, they have since changed that because there was a pretty big, I don't want to say uproar, but a lot of people did complain that that was a little too pay to win in a sense. Since you could pay for extra character slots, you could end up making a lot more money than someone else who didn't. So they kind of pulled back on that, and they made it so dailies and weeklies were account based. Now, while I understand why you want to make this account based, I don't agree with that being the case in the situation itself. I think honestly, dailies and weeklies should be on a ship level, basically a server basis. Because what's happening now is players that tend to play on multiple ships where they want to play with their friends are now stunting the growth of their main character by doing things on opposite ships. You're splitting your resources, which at the beginning of a game like this is very, very, very difficult and can be very detrimental to your growth overall as a player. So while I agree that yes, it definitely should have some limitations, we should leave it at a server level, not at an account level. I mean, some things can be at an account level, but what it's set up as right now is definitely unnecessary in my opinion. It even goes down to like mineral resources, as well as just resources out in the world, are all on an account level. Definitely need to be changed to a server level / ship level, in my opinion, and I think that would work out fantastically. But that's part of what we need to offer as feedback for the developers to make changes, and we'll have to see how things go on from there. But anyway, guys, that's kind of just my overall thoughts. Again, they were a little bit scattered. I wanted to do this completely freeform, just to give you guys my raw opinions about the game itself and what's going on. Right now, I'm having a blast. A lot of the changes they've made have been fantastic. I even just recently did a video talking about the multi-weapon system and, recent theories going around about, that sort of system itself, kind of disproving a couple of things. But that isn't to say that system isn't useful and good. I'm going to do another video talking about how it's actually pretty awesome and how you can do some pretty crazy stuff with it. Just made a few purchases that are going to help me out showing that off. But that's really about all I have to talk about with today, guys. As always, a like on the video is appreciated. Absolves you of half your ad block guilt. The other half is absolved by subscribing. Both are completely free. They do help me out a ton. If you guys want to keep up with videos like this, make sure to click on the bell icon to be notified of this, as well as community posts, or follow us over on Twitter, or join me over on Discord for notifications via those 2 avenues. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end, guys. Don't forget to comment for part of the end gang, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.